These are the game components. We have the main board that represents the city of Chartres in the 13th century, where we can find in the central area the cathedral itself. Here we have some squares to place bonus tiles. We also have the area where we are going to place the player's markers to count the influence points and the victory points that we can win, the number of rounds we are going to play during the game, and the initiative order. We also have two buildings, the most important ones at that time. We have the town hall and the warehouse. We will be placing citizens of our color on the two roads leading to them. We have the player boards. Here we have the cathedral player board, where we can build the stained glass windows of the cathedral and where we raise the cross as high as we can. Each player also has a wine cellar where they will be able to make wine at the end of each round or decade. Here we have the cards that are the heart of the game. There are cards for workers and locations. Each one works in a different way, which is explained in the rules. Here we have the status board that indicates the status of our noble family during the game. It can help us to have more cards in our hand or to obtain more victory points at the end of the game. The reputation points we obtain during the game will be converted into victory points. Bonus tiles are placed on the board to obtain certain benefits at the end of each decade. There are permanent resource markers we keep in our play area throughout the game, and 4 types of stained glass windows in 4 colors. We have white, yellow, purple, and red. And here are the player components. Each player has an identical set of components: a barrel marker, a coat of arms marker, cross, markers for initiative and victory points, and a set of 12 citizens. These are the worker cards. They all have the same anatomy. In the middle, we have an illustration representing the worker who helps us build the cathedral, make wine, and take our actions in the city. At the top, we have the resources they can provide us with if they are in the action row. At the bottom, we have their skills. There are cards that have only one ability and those that have 2. The one at the top is the main ability and the one underneath is the bonus ability. If we want to use the bonus ability, we must already have used the main ability at least once. At the top of the cards, we can find the resources that each card can give us. There are 5 types of resources. We have torches, grapes, white grapes, red grapes, horses, and wagons. Some of the abilities on the cards enable us to move the cross marker up 1 space on the cathedral board or to earn victory points according to the height of the cross. Rescuing a card of the indicated color, in this case yellow, and gaining a reputation point. And in this bonus skill, we get 2 victory points for every bunch of grapes, red grapes or white grapes. We can also have all the types of groups. For every group of horses and red grapes that we have in this row, we will earn 2 victory points. The number of arrows indicates the number of times that we can use that skill. Others indicate that, as long as we have this amount, we can use these groups as many times as we like. We also have abilities that instruct us to return a citizen from our personal pool to the general pool, and, in this case, we would move our barrel marker 2 spaces to the right. We can also count the number of wagons we have in our action row. In this case, there are 3, and we can draw 2 cards for each wagon. Or we can obtain 1 influence or 1 victory point for each bunch of white grapes. The shield indicates that we can move our shield marker up 1 level on the status board. For every 2 citizens that we have placed on the central board, we can draw 3, 2, or 1 card depending on which decade we are in. If we have 2 torches in our action row, we can discard 2 matching cards to build a white window. Or, if we have 4 torches in our action row, we can discard 1 card to build a color window. The location cards have very similar structure to the worker cards. We have an illustration where we have different locations in the city, and at the top we have the skills associated to those locations. When we choose them, we resolve them. If we aren't able to resolve the top skill, we cannot use the bottom skill. There are some special cards. These are the taverns, and instead of resolving and then discarding them, we place them in our action row. Some of the skills we can find are: take one of the available permanent resource markers and place it in your action row. That marker will remain in your action row until the end of the game. Or we can take a citizen from our personal reserve and place them on the path indicated by the illustration. In this case, on the path to the town hall. Here we have the same skill, but on the path to the warehouse. We could also play the main ability. We can discard a card from our hand and gain a reputation point. Reputation points remain in our play area until the end of the game. The taverns remain in our action area until the end of the decade, then they are discarded. They give us abilities or resources. In this case, this ability allows us to fill a full barrel with 3 grapes of the same color and half a barrel with 2 grapes of the same color. We also have locations that allow us to build stained glass windows. By discarding a card of the indicated color, in this case red, we can build a red stained glass window, or by discarding any 2 cards, we can build a white stained glass window. This one allows us to discard 2 cards of the same color to build a stained glass window of the color of our choice. And this one here allows us to take the first place in the initiative, draw a card, and subsequently exchange the position of one of our citizens with an adjacent citizen on either one of the 2 paths. In the rules manual, you will find an explanation of all the cards and their abilities. The bonus tiles we can choose from at the end of each of the decades offer us abilities in exchange for returning the number of citizens shown on the tile to the general pool. In this case, we can return 4 citizens from our personal pool to the general pool and build either 1 colored and 1 white window in that order, or 1 white and 1 colored window in that order. Or we could return 2 citizens to the general pool and build a window in the color of our choice and move up 1 space on the status board, or return 2 citizens to the general pool and build a white window and occupy the first position on the initiative marker, or return 3 citizens to the general pool, build up a window of the color of our choice and move the cross marker on our board up 1 space. How do you set up a game? Place the main board in the middle. Each player gets a cathedral board. They are all the same. Randomly, they get a cellar board. They are all different. We place them in our game area. Each player receives a series of components that are placed as follows. A cross is placed on the lowest space of the cathedral tower. The barrel marker is placed on the far left-hand space of its cellar, and the shield marker is placed on one of the spaces at the bottom of the status board. The point marker is placed on the city gate and randomly determine the initiative order according to the number of players. One bonus tile for each player in the game is placed on the cathedral, in this case 3. Each player receives 3 citizens from the general pool to place in their personal pool. In reverse starting order, each player places 1 citizen of their color on the path to the warehouse. Then, deal 6 worker cards to each player and draw as many location cards as there are players plus 1. Out of the 6 worker cards we have received, we choose 3 and place them face down to form our action row. Once every player has done this, the chosen cards are revealed and we are ready to begin. Chartres is played over 3 decades or rounds. Each of these decades is made up of 4 turns. All 4 turns are the same and always start in the same way, with the location cards that have been revealed. First, the players choose location cards based on the number of torches they have in their action row, starting with the player who has the most torches. In the case of a tie, the initiative order takes preference. When a location is chosen, resolve its effect and, unless the card says otherwise, discard it. In this case, the card says, take a citizen from the general pool and move it to your personal pool, and move your barrel marker 1 space to the right, then discard this card. There are other cards, such as taverns, that say when you draw this card, place it to the left of your action row. When everyone has chosen a location card or they are discarded, the turn begins. All players draw 2 worker cards. These cards don't count toward the maximum hand, which at the start of the game is 3 cards. Players must choose 2 cards. One is placed face down in the action row, the other face down below the action row to create what we will call the activation row. When everyone has chosen one of the cards, it is revealed. The card we have played at the bottom of the activation row is going to allow us to resolve the abilities of the cards in the action row. But to do so, the color of the bottom card must match the color of the card above it. In this case, they are red cards. For each wagon in your action row, draw 2 cards. We have 3 wagons, so we could draw 6 cards. But because we are at our maximum hand, which is 3, the status board tells us this, we won't draw cards, but instead we will score the same number of victory points. In this case, 6 victory points. This sequence takes place 4 times. Once everyone has resolved their skills, we reveal more action cards. The round ends when we have 7 cards in the action row and 4 cards. The round ends when we have 7 cards in the action row and 4 cards in the activation row, showing that we have played 4 turns. When each round ends, we have a little scoring phase. First, we count the citizens we have on the board. The player who has the most torches in their action row wins points equal to the number of citizens they have on the board multiplied by 2. For example, if they have 4 citizens, they earn 8 points. If they have 3 citizens, they earn 6 points. In addition, they can move their barrel marker 1 space to the right. The player with the second most number of torches earns victory points equal to the number of citizens they have plus 2. If there are 3 players, the third player earns victory points equal to the number of citizens they have on the board plus 1. And if there are 4 players, the fourth player earns 1 victory point for each citizen on the board. Once we have scored, we can draw additional citizens of our color. To do this, we have to count the groups of horses and wagons we have in our action row. For each group of 2 horses and 1 wagon, we can draw 1 citizen from the general reserve into our personal pool. In this case, we have 2 horses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wagons. Therefore, we can only draw 1 citizen. We bring it into our personal reserve. After drawing citizens, we can make wine. To make wine, we need to check the position of our barrel marker and count the number of barrels underneath. These are the number of barrels we can fill. To make the wine, we need groups of grapes of the same color. For each group of 4 bunches of grapes of the same color, we can fill a full barrel. For each group of 3 grapes of the same color, we can fill half a barrel. The barrels are always filled from left to right, and always the full ones before the half barrels. A full barrel gives the player the number of victory points shown on the barrel. Half a barrel gives half the number of points rounded down. Once we have filled the wine barrels, we can choose one of the bonus tiles on the central board in order of initiative. Players must return the number of citizens specified on the tile in order to carry out the effects. In this case, we can return 2 citizens to the general reserve and resolve the tile which tells us build a white window and draw 2 cards. When we build windows in our cathedral board, we have to observe the following. There are 3 types of window colors plus white windows. When a card's ability allows us to build a window, if it is white, we place it directly on the leftmost empty space. But if we can place a window of the color that corresponds to the space, we will get the bonus that appears on this box. In this case, move the barrel marker in our cellar 2 spaces. If the card's ability makes us build a window of a color that does not match the color of the space, for instance, a card that makes us build a yellow window which does not correspond to this space which is purple, what we can do is build a white window and not take its bonus. At the end of the game, we earn as many points as are shown in the rightmost occupied window space of our cathedral board. When a skill allows us to raise the cross on the cathedral tower, we raise it by 1 space. If an ability allows us to score the height of the cross, we will take the points that appear to the right of our cross marker, and also to draw the number of cards shown there at the end of the game. If we are at level 3 or level 4 of the height of the cross, we will take 1 or 2 reputation points as indicated. Except, in the draw 2 cards phase at the beginning of the round, always check that the maximum cards corresponds to the one on the status board. If you cannot draw cards, you earn victory points instead. Once this step is completed, the discarded cards, the activated cards, and the cards underneath are returned. And we start the next round with 3 cards in our action row. If we have a tavern, we discard it now. The previous bonus tiles are discarded and replaced with new ones. Then we are ready to start the next round.